Think your bathroom's basic. Let me tell you about medieval toilets. From kings hosting parties on their fancy thrones to people dodging flying poop in city streets, the history of bathrooms is way wilder than you'd imagine. Let's talk about medieval castle bathrooms, or as they called them, garderobes. Imagine you're a medieval lord, and instead of a porcelain throne, you've got a stone seat hanging right off the castle wall. These toilet chutes were basically holes that dropped everything straight down the exterior wall. Here's the funny part. People actually stored their clothes in these rooms because they thought the smell would keep moths away. But wait, it gets better. During castle sieges, these bathroom chutes became a major weak spot. Enemy soldiers could actually climb up through them. And if you're thinking that's bad, consider the poor folks who lived at the bottom of the castle wall. They'd have to dodge what I like to call medieval meteors falling from above. Talk about a crappy situation. Ready for the weirdest history lesson you've never asked for? Before toilet paper became a thing, medieval folks got super creative with their cleanup methods. The rich used fancy wool or hemp, while the Romans went high-tech with their tersorium, basically a stick with a sponge on the end that they'd share. Yes, share. The average Joe might grab whatever was handy, leaves, moss, corn cobs, ouch, or even their left hand. That's why the right hand was for eating and greeting. In fact, when paper finally showed up in medieval Europe, people thought using it for wiping was totally bizarre. Who knew our ancestors were such innovative problem solvers? Though maybe not in the most hygienic way. Here's something that'll blow your mind. Medieval kings turned going to the bathroom into a royal party. I'm talking about the famous levee tradition, where monarchs would literally hold court while sitting on their fancy toilet chairs. King Louis XIV of France made it the hottest ticket in town. Nobles would fight for the honor of watching him do his business and helping him wipe. Can you imagine showing up to the palace at 5 a.m. just to watch the king on the toilet? But this wasn't just about bathroom habits. These throne room meetings, pun totally intended, were where the real political deals went down. Kings would grant favors, sign documents, and make huge decisions while taking care of, well, royal business. Talk about multitasking. Let me paint you a picture of London in 1858, a city literally drowning in its own waste. The Thames River had become the world's most disgusting soup, with 2.5 million Londoners using it as their personal toilet. During that summer's mega heatwave, the smell got so bad that Parliament had to hang lime-soaked curtains over their windows just to function. They even tried moving the government out of London. People called it the Great Stink, and trust me, that name was putting it mildly. The river was so thick with waste that some folks said you could walk across it, though nobody was brave enough to test that theory. Even Queen Victoria had to cancel a river cruise because the smell was making everyone sick. This wasn't just a nose problem. Cholera was having a field day, turning London into the disease capital of Europe. Here's a wild plot twist in our toilet tale. Medieval monks were actually plumbing geniuses. While most people were tossing waste out windows, monasteries had running water systems that would make a modern plumber smile. These clever monks built complex networks of stone channels that carried fresh water from nearby streams right into their buildings. They created special rooms called reredators, basically communal bathrooms with stone seats lined up in rows, complete with rushing water underneath to wash everything away. And get this, some monasteries even had heated toilet seats. They'd run warm air through hollow bench spaces to keep the monks' bottoms toasty during those chilly morning prayers. Let's hit the streets of a medieval city, where walking around was basically a game of dodge the flying poop. People would shout, "Gardez-l'eau," watch out for the water, before launching their chamber pots out the window. But here's the thing, most folks didn't actually wait for people to clear the street. The chamber pot business was booming though. Craftsmen made them in all shapes and sizes, from basic clay pots to fancy decorated ones with faces on them. Rich people even had silver ones, because nothing says "I'm fancy" like a sterling silver poop bucket. The streets got so bad that some cities made laws about when you could empty your pot. But good luck enforcing that when nature calls at midnight. Let me introduce you to medieval Europe's most unusual career path, the gong farmers. These brave souls made a fortune doing the job nobody else wanted, climbing down into castle cesspits to shovel out human waste. I'm talking about earning more in a day than most medieval workers made in a week. The catch? They could only work at night, had to live outside the city walls. And yeah, a lot of them died from toxic fumes. But here's the kicker. Some gong farmers actually got rich from treasure hunting in the muck. Rings, coins, and valuable items that rich folks accidentally dropped down the toilet became finders keepers. Talk about a messy path to wealth. Here's where medieval castle bathrooms get seriously wild. You'd think those toilet chutes were just for business, but they turned into secret entrance points for some seriously gutsy attackers. Take Chateau Gaillard in 1204. A group of French soldiers actually crawled up the poop chute during a siege. While the English guards were busy watching the castle walls, these brave or crazy soldiers squeezed through the gross tunnel, weapons in hand, and opened the castle gates from the inside. I mean, imagine explaining that victory to your grandkids. The English tried fixing this weird weakness by installing metal bars across the chutes, but some clever attackers just saw these as convenient climbing ladders. Talk about a crappy defense plan. You might think your doctor visits are awkward, but medieval royal physicians took things to a whole new level. These doctors were absolutely obsessed with the king's poop. They'd study it, smell it, and sometimes even taste it. They kept detailed poop diaries, tracking everything from color to consistency. Each morning, royal physicians would gather around the king's close stool, fancy toilet, like wine connoisseurs at a tasting. They believed the secret to royal health floated in that golden chamber pot. If the king's poop was too dark, they'd prescribe leeches. Too light? Time for some weird herbal concoctions. These poop-watching doctors were so important that some even became rich and powerful court advisors. Talk about a strange career path. So there you are in the 1800s, living with the same gross bathroom setup as your medieval ancestors, when suddenly, boom, the flush toilet revolution hits. Thomas Crapper, yes, that was his real name, didn't invent the flush toilet, but he made it work way better and sold it like crazy. This guy turned the toilet from a rich person's toy into everyone's favorite throne. The S-bend trap he perfected, pure genius. It kept the stink where it belonged. Suddenly cities didn't smell like giant outhouses anymore. Disease rates dropped, people lived longer, and everyone could finally poop in peace. This wasn't just about comfort. It literally changed how we built our cities and homes. Who knew a simple flush could be such a game changer? And there you have it, the wild, wacky, and sometimes gross history of medieval bathrooms. If you enjoyed this bizarre journey through time, smash that like button and subscribe for more historical adventures. Share it with your friends. They'll never look at their bathroom the same way again.